ready to go whenever you boys are.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. A man is born, he's a man of means. Then along come two, they got nothing but the genes. They got different strokes it takes, different strokes it takes, different strokes to move the world. Everybody's got a special kind of story. Everybody finds a way to shine. It don't matter that you got not a lot. So what? They'll have theirs, you'll have yours, and I'll have mine. And together we'll be fine. As it takes different strokes to move the world. Yes, it does. It takes different strokes to move the world. We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they can send us to the morgue. Yeah, we are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. Don't let me shoot you. He can't fucking breathe. Don't let me shoot you. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned.
If it's Thursday, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I have got a glorious panel here with me to help break down the shit talking and shenanigans, the fight announcements and cancellations that have fallen down the wonderful MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. But before we get into all the fun and fuckery, how you doing over there, gentlemen?
I'm here, strongly against my will, but I'm here.
Kind of how I feel too. I'm here, not looking forward to the fights this weekend, but yeah, it's always fun to talk shit with you boys.
Yeah, it is what it is sometimes, unfortunately. So before we get into everything, because I apparently forgot to change the fucking background back, for anybody who did miss it, I am actually running a giveaway right now. 710 is coming up, and I was also lucky enough to be the first guest over on the homie Let's Sesh 420's new one-on-one interview long-form podcast called the Seshcast. So we have got a giveaway going on for some tasty dab tools, little nail, little cap, some pearls. Real easy. The video is on the channel. Once this is over, go watch that video, enter the giveaway. It's free. All you got to do is be of age and answer a very simple question that is in the video. Takes just a couple minutes. It's cool shit. And when you're done, subscribe to the homie because he's a cool cat and he's doing cool shit. That being said, kicking things off around here, the way we like to normally, with a little bit of news and recent events, like we mentioned earlier, fight announcements, fight cancellations, rumors that have been confirmed, things like that, all the relevant stuff that is shaken loose from the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. So we'll start up at the top here because we do have a couple of late breaking ones that are going to affect the news section, but we'll get into that in a minute. Starting up at the top here, we got official confirmation from the New Jersey State Athletic Commission this week that despite there being voluminous evidence to the favor, Bruno Silva did get his appeal for the verdict against Chris Weidman denied by the Athletic Commission. So it will stand as a TKO loss, even though Ray Charles can tell you that fight should have been a no contest at the very best, a DQ, if it was being called properly. But unfortunately for Mr. Silva, he's just going to have to stand with that L on his record. And Weidman is still somehow celebrating that with a clean conscience. So I don't know. It's not a good look either way it goes. Speaking of not a good look, though, as if he didn't have enough trouble going on in the boxing ring right now, Ryan Garcia was actually arrested over the weekend for felony vandalism up in Beverly Hills. He decided to go on a shit smashing spree at the Waldorf Astoria, and they don't play no fucking games there. So they promptly called the police and had his ass arrested. So as if that kid can't get out of his fucking own way quick enough, he's going to tap dance on that fucking record once again and fuck up his public persona in the midst of all this other shit going on. So that brings us to next weekend's card, which starts the daisy chain of fuckery that kind of dogpiled on this afternoon in terms of combat sports news. So it started by a lot of rumors circulating from a lot of people, but no official confirmation. And then we got the official confirmation this afternoon that Khamzat Chimaev is officially in the hospital and out of the main event next weekend versus Robert Whittaker. Shortly after that, we got word that not only is Khamzat out, excuse me, but Ikram Aliskerov is being pulled from this weekend's co-main event to step in and fly to Saudi Arabia next weekend to take on Robert Whittaker in the main event on a week's notice and an extra 2 fucking rounds. Not that he necessarily deserved the fight, but it will save next weekend's main event better than it's going to damage losing the co-main event for this weekend. But that wasn't all that came out. That was just kind of the snowball that got the avalanche rolling, if you will, here. Excuse me. We did get confirmation here a couple weeks ago that Invicta was officially back, that they are doing their show June 28th from Memorial Hall in Kansas City. Well, they have officially dropped the rest, or another chunk, I should say, of their 2024 lineup, along with Invicta 55 going on June 28th They have changed. They will no longer just be airing on Fight Pass. The Fight Pass deal apparently ended. They have now signed with CBS Sports and will be airing on CBS starting with this June event, which is fucking cool for Invicta. They have got another event scheduled for August 9th for Invicta 56. Invicta 57 will be taking place in September. They're still working on locking down the date. And then Invicta 58 is set for November 6th, with the final one of the year, Invicta 59, December 13th. So Invicta is officially back. It's nice to see the all ladies promotion coming through, kicking ass, taking names, keeping shit rocking. And they've got a title fight coming right out of the gate in 2 weeks for their first show back in June. And that is fucking awesome. Very happy to see them doing that, doing big things. Moving on from there, the September 7th card for the UFC, as of right now, is officially a TBD card. They don't have a location. They are still, quote unquote, working on a few things like the UFC tends to do lately. But they did give us a pair of fight announcements going onto that card, wherever the fuck it ends up being. The first one is going to be Calvin Kattar stepping back into the cage, taking on Kyle Nelson. Very, very good fight, in my opinion, for both of those gentlemen in terms of where they're at. The other one, the main event that they are looking at right now, is Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. That's another fucking great fight, and a great fight night main event, in my opinion, as well. Good pair of fights. Okay, here we go. The daisy chain of news kind of rolled downhill quickly. We got a whole bunch to talk about real quick in a short span here. We had a lot of rumors, kind of everybody basically knew it was coming, but as of, I believe, 15 minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes ago, just within the last half an hour, Dana White and the UFC have officially come out and confirmed a plethora of facts here. So starting off, the one that we all kind of suspected, turns out Conor McGregor got injured last weekend right before the press conference was set to go off in Dublin, which is why they subsequently canceled the press conference and have been very quiet in the last week. They have not said what the injury is, only that the fight for 2 weeks from now and the main event of UFC 303 is officially off. They said they are anticipating trying to rebook the fight later on in the year. Excuse me. But as of right now, that means UFC 303's new main event 2 weeks from now will be Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka 2, the rematch. The co-main event for UFC 303 gets moved to Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. And then the people's co-main event, because the other part of that giant announcement was that not only is Conor injured, but now also Jamal Hill is also injured. So he is also out of what was previously the co-main event. And now Anthony Smith is going to be stepping in on short notice in place of Jamal Hill, who is stepping in to fight Carlos Ulberg, who is also stepping in late notice. So UFC 303, in literally the last 45 minutes, the bulk of the main card has been completely remade. In the process of doing that, they also remade part of the main card for next weekend's UFC Saudi Arabia card, which in doing that also took the co-main event from this weekend's UFC Vegas 93 co-main event. So, like I said, there has just been an absolute avalanche of fight news dripping in the last 45 minutes or so from the UFC. Everything is fucking crazy right now. Speaking of everything is fucking crazy, we got another confirmed fight today that no one really wanted to see, but they're going to fucking do it anyway. Mike Tyson is apparently cleared of his health scare and officially rescheduling his boxing match with Voldemort for a Friday, November 15th in AT&T Stadium. I don't understand why that one is still happening, much like John Jones and Stipe. In the moment, you almost had people convinced that it could have been a feasible thing to watch, but now that that moment is come and gone, no one wants to see that anymore. We didn't want to see it, but we were kind of willing to accept it in the moment. That moment's gone, and nobody wants or needs this shit anymore. I hope, honestly, that gets canceled before we get to November. We'll see, though. Last one I've got here. Mark DeCasey, Mr. Red Stripe himself, after being let out of his UFC contract, or excuse me, being not re-signed to a UFC contract, has officially signed with the PFL organization, aiming to take a fight later in 2024 on one of their cards in a non-seasonal fight, and then jump into the 2025 regular $1 million season going forward starting next year. So good on Mark DeCasey. There's no way he was ever going to make $1 million in the UFC, no matter how well he did. At least now he's got a chance for it. So we'll see how that plays out for him. But that is what I've got in terms of news and recent events for this week. Do either one of you gentlemen have anything that I might have missed in this crazy fucking splashdown that we've got in news?
Only thing that I got, I don't think I heard you say. UFC did one decent thing this week. Signed rising fucking champion Kai Asakura. Just makes the bantamweight division a little bit more fun. I don't know if they're gonna throw him into the rankings or any of that shit right away, but
Interesting. No, I did not see that they had signed him, and that is actually a good signing considering they pulled Manel Kopp and they're trying to throw him right up to the fucking top. Kai Sakura, in my opinion, is as good, if not better, than fucking Manel Kopp is. So fuck yeah, put some more fucking blood into that 135 pound division.
He vacated his title to sign with the UFC.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like they probably backed the truck up for him, so they know what they're doing, because Ryzen apparently pays pretty fucking well from what the folks that are over there have been saying. So for him to vacate a title and come to the UFC, Dana might have had to back up a fucking truck. So they might just have plans for that young man. And if that's the case, I'm fucking here for it. Yeah, I'm definitely okay with that. Fucking A, good move. But that being said, that is what I've got for news. So that'll bring us to the point where in most podcasts, you'll get some bullshit B-roll ad for some fucking product that no one on the show actually uses, for a company that doesn't actually give a shit about the podcast that it's supporting or sponsoring. And we don't play like that around here. On the I'm No Joe podcast, if you like what we get up to and you want to help us do what we do, patreon.com/I'm No Joe. For as little as $1 a month, you not only help us do what we do, but you get access to unaired and unairable content, things that we simply cannot put out to the general public, as well as your name as a thank you on the end of every broadcast that rolls across this channel to let everyone know how fucking awesome you are for helping us do what we do. That being said, if you've been watching combat sports as long as some of us have, you inevitably start to learn what you like, and you learn when what you like comes on and how to get what you like, and you start to develop a set of metaphorical blinders, as if you were. You start to lose the forest for the trees because you know what you're doing and you know what you're getting. But luckily for us here on the podcast, we have ourselves a bona fide young person who gets out there ever so vigilantly and just ever so delicately fingers the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be names before they get to be names, in a segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
appreciate you, brother. So I'm gonna start off like always with the fucking cans. I feel like there's quite a bit you could pick from. Last weekend was a rough watch, and this weekend is not going to be any better. And now that all the injuries and switch ups have happened, and we lost the sight of Ikram at Lexerov, like that fight wasn't necessarily going to be good because Antonio Tricoli's a motherfucking can. But you're going to see a potential contender that I had on my list. I had Ikram at Lexerov in the contenders list. He'll probably be on there again next week. Excited to see what that kid can do, especially now that he's getting the opportunity he's getting. We'll definitely be throwing him in there next week. But cans, fucking Weston Wilson, this is an easy one. I feel like this is one of the easiest ones. Kid looked horrible in his first couple of fights in the UFC. And this weekend against Jeka Sarigi, I feel like he's just going to get pieced up. It's just a matter of time before he gets dropped once that fight starts. Um, Melikwazal Costa, I got him in the can as well, man. Has not looked great since he started his UFC career. Even if the kid's got some finishing potential, he has not gotten those finishes in the UFC. He's just gotten his ass whooped. So they got a couple of fights as a whole. The fucking Silva de Andrade versus Miles Johns fight. I feel like that has got snoozer written all over it. I'm not looking forward to that one. There's a chance this welterweight fight could be fun, but I've got it in the can. Josh Quinlan versus Adam Fuggett. I know it's Fugit, but I love calling him Adam Fuggett, man. Uh, both of them just aren't very good. I mean, they both have the knockout power, so one of them might put the other out. It might be a fun little one, but more likely than not, neither one of them put each other out. This is going to be one of the boring fights on the fucking card because neither one of them are very talented fighters. They just have a little bit of power behind their fucking right hand. So we'll see how that one goes. But throwing it in the can, I do have a Schrodinger's can tender this week. Nate Maness. He's the guy I feel like is kind of on the fence. He's lost his last couple fights, but the dude still has some potential, I feel. Against Jimmy Flick, I feel like this is an easy bounce back. Flick is fun, man. He definitely puts his heart out there. He, puts the dog out. Fucking makes some fun fights. But the dude doesn't have a great wrestling game, even if he's good with the submissions. I feel like it's a no-brainer that Nate Maness gets a nice little win here, but he is kind of on the fence. You keep losing, you're just edging your way out. We'll see what he does. The true contenders, though, that I'm looking forward to, like I said, Alex Serov got moved off the card, but Asu Almabayev, Tatsuro Taira, two young flyweights that I feel like have serious potential to do something special in the future. Almabayev still has a lot to work on, where Taira's in a whole different picture. Especially if Tatsuro wins this weekend, he's really fucking putting himself in a good spot. Probably even better than Muhammad Mokaev. Just because he has been dominating his fights and getting finishes. And if he continues to do that against the top level guys, he's going to get pushed up. And, Japanese prospects. So, potential first Japanese champion in the UFC. They're going to push that a little bit. So, I'm all for that. Almabayev, though, the kid's pretty fucking good. I feel like he's got serious potential. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. I got two fights that I'm looking forward to, though. Other than the main event, which I think is going to be decent, you got Josh Van and Tagir Ulanbekov. That's a flyweight fight I'm really looking forward to. Ulanbekov can make this fight boring, but I'm really interested to see what the young kid Josh Van does. I do feel like maybe he takes this loss and it's not going to be a big deal. Like, Ulanbekov's pretty good. He's only really lost to the better guys in the division. He's not the worst, right? He's a good test to see where Van's at. But 22 years old, kid's still really young and can bounce back if he takes a loss. We're excited to see where that fight goes. And then Brady Highstand versus Garrett Armfield. I don't think Brady Highstand's the greatest fighter. He's a good grappler, but Garrett Armfield, obviously, Missouri guy. We're gonna root the fuck for that. He's a really good fucking striker. He looked damn good in his last fight against Brad Katona. I feel like he surprised a lot of people. I was confident he was gonna get that win, but maybe other people weren't. But I mean, that's because Katona does what the fuck he did this last weekend. Just fucking hold the dude down on the ground for 15 minutes. Well, I feel like that bantamweight fight has potential to be one of the exciting fights. Brady Highstand, the grappler, Garrett Armfield, the striker. Maybe Highstand goes out there, tries to strike with him. We get a fun fight. Love to hear what you boys got. your cans and contenders. I know it's a little hard to find the contenders, but there's a few young kids I'm looking forward to.
Let me make this very easy. I'm going camping this weekend on Father's Day for a reason. This card absolutely blows donkey dick. The only person on the card that I'm halfway interested in watching is in the main event, and that's Tatsuro Taira. Other than that, the rest of this card can be honestly canceled. This should be one of those weeks where we don't have a fucking card. Period.
Yeah, I'm not going camping, but I am completely skipping this card myself as well. I am going to Synergy FC's first inaugural submission only event here in Springfield. Going to see another Missouri boy, Jeff Molina, going to take on some fucking submission grappling. But there are a few interesting things on the card that I was talking a little bit pre-show that I am going to try and keep an eye out for. Luckily for us, we'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute with the combat sports menu, but this card starts late, so there is a chance I might actually get to go see the jiu-jitsu event and catch some of the UFC. But lots of rough fights to slog through on this one. This is absolutely one of those weeks where the vast majority of the fights on this card are what we like to lovingly refer to as contractual obligations. They're not necessarily a fight that's going to impact a division. They're not necessarily a fight that the fans are craving and clamoring for, but they're fights that contractually have to be made so that UFC can carry on with business as usual. There is one that I am mildly curious about here, and it's actually early in the fucking card, and that is Julia Palastri versus Josephine Knudsen. Knudsen has an O in her fucking loss column. That's rare in the ladies' side. Once you get above a half a dozen fights, honestly, at this point in the UFC, there are very few ladies in the UFC who have more than 7 or 8 fights and still have an undefeated record. Knudsen has still held on to hers for some reason, somehow, and she's coming into the UFC. So that's going to go eventually. Is it going to go now? Is she going to start climbing the fucking rankings with that O as her trophy? Who fucking knows? Palastri isn't a world beater, but she's also fairly well-rounded for some of the ladies the UFC has been bringing in lately as well. So it could turn out to be, ironically, one of the more interesting fights in the early card, in my opinion here. I absolutely agree. That Josh Van fight, I would call that the Schrodinger's contender of the card, in my opinion, because we've seen a little bit of what Josh Van is capable of, but we've only seen a little bit, strangely enough, of what Tagir is capable of. We've seen his wet blanket technique, and it's really fucking good. His striking isn't bad, but Josh Van, we've kind of seen the opposite. We've seen Josh Van has got great fucking hands. We haven't really seen him tested on the ground much. This could be a really fun fight, but this could also turn into 15 minutes of, God damn it, just do something. I'm hoping it's the former and not the latter, but with the blanket routine we have seen Tagir put on, there's a possibility that's 15 minutes of just suck time. Ironically enough, that I'm with TJ. The one fight on this card that I'm going to do my best to actually try to pay attention to and catch is that main event, and that's not because I think it's going to be really competitive. I'm just more curious to see how much growth Tatsuro has gotten since the last time we saw him out. Because in my opinion, Alex Perez plateaued a long time ago, and he is holding on with a fucking cliffhanger's fucking grip to his relevancy in the UFC. But he hasn't really done anything but stay right where he is. Whereas Tatsuro Taira, if he doesn't fuck this up, that kid has got every opportunity in front of him to be the next big thing at 125 fucking pounds and to be a relevant face for the UFC as a whole, an international fucking fighter, a dude who came up through the fucking groundworks and has turned into something now. Talk about somebody with an O in the fucking win column that is holding onto it like a trophy. You can't even see Tatsuro Taira's fucking loss columns if you're fighting him because he's that fucking good so far. If he's still learning and he's still grappling and growing like he should be, this could be a very interesting fight for him and a very bad night for Alex Perez. And that's kind of what I'm interested in seeing.
Good shit. Well, I appreciate Golf T at least giving it something. He's excited for one of the young kids.
That's it. The rest of that,
And nobody
it's a wash.
blames you if you don't watch. That's how I feel about this weekend too. This is the weekend where I'm gonna spend time transplanting my plants and taking care of shit outside and not worrying about fights. I'm gonna enjoy my weekend for once because these fights are gonna suck and I can just catch highlights. Or here's your little plug: just watch the YouTube shorts that Meter puts on the I'm No Joe channel. I'm sure Meter will at least keep enough eye on it that if a finish happens, you will still give us some shorts, and that is all I need.
Yeah, I'm actually, fingers crossed everything goes the way that it's supposed to. I'm actually supposed to be meeting up with several different fight podcasters at this jiu-jitsu event that I'm going to talk a little bit more about, and be doing some live updates from the event, as well as trying to keep up and do any live short updates for the UFC card that's going to be rolling simultaneously as well. So fingers crossed.
Appreciate you boys trying to help me fucking give some shining light to this pile of shit.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir. Always appreciated. So that'll bring us to the point in the podcast where we have one segment that actually requires its own individual disclaimers. Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form support, sponsor, or endorse the I'm No Joe podcast yet. That being said, Tapology.com does offer you the option to go onto their site, create a free account, and make fantasy style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups on there. So we did. We made one called I'm No Bookie, or Group 965, however you need to find it. It is open to the public. You are welcome and encouraged to make yourself an account. Let us know who the fuck you are. Join the group, and we will hold your picks accountable with ours in a little segment that we call Tapology with TJ.
All right. So we're going to hop into this in a terrible way because I'm going to breeze through this so fucking fast. I'm not even going to see tomorrow. To start off with, our boy Don, who managed to pull off the damn near impossible last week of tripping over his dick and being mediocre at the same fucking time by setting in two different sets of picks. Somehow last week on the Cannoneer Mama fucking card, managed to take first place in there. So way to go from doing the double take, trip over your dick, to patting yourself on the back this week, Don. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Hats off. Now, so I can actually finish reading the rest of the shit. I'm going to take those off because unfortunately those are polarized, so it fucks up my computer screen. Everyone except for myself was over 500. Now, if that gives you any inkling of who got the trip over their dick award, it was me. I flopped that sumbitch out, hit it with a ball peen hammer. Thought I wasn't done yet, so I went and I grabbed the sledge, hit it one more fucking time for good measure. Started off great. First half of the card, I was looking really good. But, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the fucking nail. I was the nail this week. And I figured I'd just nail my own dick to the board and drag it around like a lost puppy this week. But everybody else did fucking fantastic on last week's card. Even the top really wasn't that far apart. The thing that pushed Don to the top was he had two fucking absolute perfects where he got 100 points for two fights. So that's 200 points that gave him enough to push him over the edge. There was other people who had the same amount of picks right. Vin Dog Booty Hog was sitting there with 9 correct. Meter's sitting with 8. Christian, 8. Donna, 8. So it's not like everybody wasn't doing their homework, doing what they were supposed to. I was just the guy who made the fucking weird picks that, I was like, oh, this weird shit could happen. Let's try it. I need to go back to what I was doing the last couple weeks because I don't want to lose my top spot. In fact, I haven't even fucking looked. So we're gonna look together here in the Summer Grand Prix and see where we're fucking sitting right now. Um, so after tripping over my dick, I am still somehow managing to sit in the top spot. Probably because Donna didn't do so great. It's not that she did bad, but she didn't do fucking fantastic. So I've got her by just about 75 fucking points, which that's enough. First place. Donna sitting in second. Christian sitting in third. Vindog had a nice round week there. Popped himself up a little bit, and so he's well within the runnings. He's not even 200 out of lead. And got Meters sitting there, 2980. So him and Don decided they were both going to take opposite weeks off, and Don's not far behind him. One good set of picks, and he be caught back up and possibly fighting for that fifth spot. So it's still up in the air. We've got what, one, two, three more events, including this weekend. It'll end at 303, which was formerly the card, as you guys know earlier, was supposed to be the Conor McGregor card, but that ship is fucking sailed. It's gone. Bye-bye. So if you're not a member yet, come over to Tap, join us on Tapology, Group 965. I'm no bookie. Let us know who you are. We'll get you in. We'll get you an invite to the next Grand Prix, whatever it's going to be called, summer solstice, fucking early fall, false summer, something. But either way, let us know. Get on in. It's all for fun. It's just bragging rights. And well, I'm gonna tell you when you trip over your dick. Even when I do it myself, I do. So nobody is free from ridicule. That's how that works. Oh, now on to the last bit here, which is to talk about odds for this weekend. Here's something funny. With the change in fights that were going on, I just want to mention this in passing, but the widest odds that were on this card were Antonio Tricoli and Ikram Alexskarov, which was ironically the widest margin on this fucking card, but it's no longer here anymore because, well, obviously Alexskarov got fucking Chimaev's spot. So just in passing here, we'll tell you Alexskarov was a minus 1600 favorite over Tricoli, who was a plus 850 underdog. But so not something you can make a stupid, crazy fucking bet and make a lot of money on, unfortunately. So overall this week, the way that the card sits currently, we have quite a few coin flips. There are a few fights worth mentioning, and then of course I'll cover the main event and the co-main event as per usual. But we're gonna start down for Jeka Sergey and Weston Wilson. Wilson coming in as a plus 280 underdog over Jeka and a minus 350 favorite. Next bit of wider odds on the card here is going to go to the Jimmy Flick Nate Menace fight. Yeah, Flick coming in as a plus 400 underdog and Menace coming in as a minus 550 favorite. Seems legitimate. The widest odds on the card are actually for, current, actually still on the card, widest odds, little asterisk there, is the Jose Johnson and Asus Omabayev, excuse me. Omabayev coming in as a minus 650 favorite, and Johnson coming in as a plus 475 underdog. Widest odds on the card. So for those of you that are bettors this week, there are a few on this card that have some wider odds, so you can try to make some crazy fucking pick if you want to. I'm not gonna tell you to do that, but a lot of these guys are relative unknowns, so unknown shit can happen. It's kind of like watching the Contender Series and you see Bo Nickel have to fight twice when he should have only had to fight once. But we'll let a 19-year-old in and fucking one fight. Yeah. It's that kind of fuckery. But now on to the main and co-main here. You have the Douglas Silva de Andrade and Miles Johns. And that one right now is a coin flip. They've got Miles Johns coming in as a minus 140 underdog. Silva Andrade as a a plus 115 underdog, and Miles Johns is a plus or minus 140 favorite. I had that all fucked up. Obviously, it is what it is. We're doing this shit live. It happens. What are you gonna do? But yeah, it's basic coin flip. Then onto your main event. And Alex Perez and Tatsuro Taira. They got Taira coming in as a minus 190 favorite over Perez and a plus 160 underdog. So again, pretty close to a fucking coin flip. Which is funny considering how far apart those two are actually in the rankings. You would figure they would think it would be wider, but apparently, they obviously everybody else sees what we see in Tatsuro as being a pretty good fucking fighter and improving quite a bit since he's came in. So, those are your odds this week. Unfortunately, Alex Garov got pulled off of this card, so there's actually not a really super crazy wide odds. Wonder what his odds are going to be now in Jemayo's spot. Probably nowhere near as good. Just saying. Having to fight Bobby Knuckles on short notice is probably not a good outlook for him. But it's a hell of a stepping stone if he gets it done. But on that, join again, one last time. Join Tapology. Let us know who you are. Group 965 on No Bookie. It's fucking free. Who doesn't like free shit? I like free shit. It's fun free shit. So yes, come do the fun free shit with us. For free. For free.
Give me little flashbacks there. He said little asterisks, and they haven't called me that since college. But that being said, as is the case more often than not, I forgot to do it earlier on in the show. So before we get the fuck out of here, I'm going to take a quick moment here and give you lovely folks the fight menu for the weekend, the combat sports menu, as I like to refer to it, because there is clearly more than just the UFC going on this weekend. So I don't feel like that's the only thing there is if you want to watch a little punchy kicky. So kicking things off literally an hour ago was PFL 4. Decent card all the way around. But starting off tomorrow, early, 1 Eastern, noon Central, Aries FC live from Old Paris. France officially has legal MMA now, and they are getting to the damn thing. It is nice to see them kicking off some punchy kicky with lunch tomorrow if you need that to kick you going. Saturday, we start off ironically late with the UFC. Prelims kicking off at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Main card kicking off 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. So late card for the UFC Saturday evening. But kicking off just after the UFC does is a couple of other cards here. The first one of the bigger little guy boxing cards, in my opinion, happening recently. Tank Davis stepping back into the fucking squared circle against Frank Martin. And if you haven't seen the fight build up, the face off between those two should be enough to get you to want to watch that fucking boxing match. There's 4 title fights going down on this card tomorrow evening, kicking off 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Now, unfortunately, the last two here are a little bit different than the normal ones that we would mention. The first one I'm going to mention here is weird, but also kind of historic, but not for the same way that the next one is. The first one here is weird and historic because it is the last active combat sports match, allegedly, of the Spider himself, Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen, in a boxing match taking place Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, unfortunately, this is what Anderson Silva is calling a quote-unquote high VIP event. So there is no broadcast. There is no promotion for the show. That is literally just being put on for the people in the cage, or in the arena, rather. I have no doubt we're going to get highlights of it, but in real time, if you're going to want to watch for those highlights, it starts around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, the other thing that is kicking off Saturday evening that, unfortunately, to the best of my knowledge, is not being broadcast is, like I mentioned earlier, Synergy FC is putting on their first ever submission grappling series. There is a 4-on-4-on-4 team grappling winner stays combat match going, as well as about a dozen different one-on-one matches. One of those being Missouri's own Jeff Molina coming down here to kick some ass and take some names. But there's all sorts of cool shit going on. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be trying to meet up with a couple of other fellow fight podcasters at the event, do a little cross promotion as well as trying to keep some live stuff for you guys as well. So definitely keep an eye on the YouTube Shorts tab over here on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel on Saturday, because as well as any relevant fight information or finishes, like we mentioned earlier, that happen, I will try and get those out, as well as we're going to try and do some live stuff from the event Saturday as well. So definitely keep your eyes peeled on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel as well as the Instagram channel. We may do some stuff on the Instagram live as well there. That being said, that is what we've got in terms of fight stuff for this particular weekend. So that is all we have got for this particular episode. But when we wrap things up around here, that is not the end of the fun, because tomorrow morning and pretty much every Friday morning, he's over there. There we go. That guy right there and his other half put out their podcast, Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over on Spreaker.com. You can catch the link to that as well as their socials and their very own channel on the I'm No Joe Discord server, all down there below. Go check it out. Tell them how awesome they are.
Appreciate you, brother. The fun never fucking stops once you swing back around the next week. Usually, Wednesdays, you get fucking Golf T Vape's YouTube channel. Get the Foggy Fairway around 9:30 every fucking Wednesday night. You know, if you're into vapes, you like mixes, you want some recipes on some shit, you always tune in. You just want to fucking show the brother some love. You know, all of his links down in the description below. I know he's been taking some time off, spending time with the family, just fucking resting. And he has talked about he'll eventually be back on his streaming days, but you can still follow the brother on everything, show him some love.
Appreciate you, brother. Now, on the way out, being as there's not going to be a whole lot to watch on Saturday, if you're looking for something to watch, the meter does more than one thing. In fact, he does many things. You go down below, Linktree / the meter does many things, or Linktree / when I'm No Joe. Either one of those you click on will take you to all of the many things that the meter does do, and it'll give you something to watch on Saturday, because I can guarantee you it's going to be better than the snooze fest we've got for a fucking card from the UFC this week. Go enjoy yourself. Click those links and watch away. Be entertained by something that isn't bullshit, scrapped together, shit torn off of it. That could have been interesting, but no, you know, here we fucking are. So go have fun and follow the many things the meter does do.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. So that being said, that is all we've got for this particular episode. If you like what we get up to around here, please make sure you give us a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and your notifications are turned on wherever you're picking this up. In case you are not aware, we do this pretty much every Thursday. There are fights to talk about live over on youtube.com/@I'mNoJoe. Week after it airs live here on YouTube, we put the all audio format up on anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe to get for your podcast consumption platform of choice. Google, Apple, Spotify, we're fucking everywhere in the all audio. Just remember that's a week late. If you want to help out what we do around here, patreon.com/I'mNoJoe is the best way to do it. Little as a buck, helps us do what we do. Get your name at the end as a thank you. That being said, again, if you like what we do, give us a thumbs up. Make sure your notifications are turned on. On the other side of that coin, though, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, why the fuck are you still here into a podcast this deep that you didn't enjoy? Give us a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, that's all we've got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Oh
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh.